I have just realised how excessive this is. Welcome to the review of every single one of the Jeffree Star palettes that I own. There's 12 in front of me. I'm sure I own 13, but I cannot find the 13th palette. But this is going to be a pretty quick video. But I am going to go through every single palette and tell you guys what I think of it and which one is worth buying. If you can still get them all, that is. So if you want to see what I think of every single palette and you want to see every single palette in one video, just keep watching. I think I'm going to start with the first palette that I ever bought. I'm pretty sure this is the first palette I ever bought, but this is Blood Sugar. I'm sure this is the first one I bought. I think this is where the obsession started. So Blood Sugar was one of these type trunks. So that is Blood Sugar there. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's just dust. Blood Sugar is one of my favourite palettes. It's got such beautiful colours in it. I've used it quite a lot, but it just doesn't look like I've used it a lot. This is the original release. So it is a pretty old palette. I can't remember when it was released. I'll maybe put it on the screen. But I have no bad things to say about this palette. It is beautiful. It obviously is... I couldn't tell you how old it is. Well, I could if it's on the screen. But there's nothing wrong with the eyeshadows in it. They are absolutely still as good as the day I got it. So yeah, out of 10, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10 because I think it's just about there. Right, okay, next, just because it's in front of me, we have Blue Blood. Obviously, very, very similar design. It kind of comes up a little bit on top here, and it only has one clasp, but Blue Blood was the blue version of Blood Sugar. Here it is here, and I've used this a lot, which is hilarious because it really doesn't look used at all. You can probably see most by Cullinan, is it? That one there? I absolutely love this palette. It's got, to be honest, I wish it had more just blues in it. Like I knew, or we knew kind of by this point, I think, that he was going to come out with new colour stories all the time. And we knew somebody wasn't buying one palette just to be the be-all end-all palette. So I wish that it had more sort of just almost every blue you could imagine in it, but the colour story in it is fantastic. It does cover most bases, and to be honest, I do like some of the colours, but that pink just always threw me for some reason. Love it. If I'm ever doing a blue look, I always reach for this palette. Like, it doesn't matter what blue look I'm doing. If I'm doing blue, I have this on my eyes. You can go through my Instagram and you'll see that it's tagged in probably every blue look. Since we're sticking with the trunks, we have the Conspiracy palette. I love this. Obviously, it's been just talked about again because of the series with Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. But this is the collaboration with him and Shane Dawson, and it is very much it's very much a mixture of Blue Blood and Blood Sugar. It has the two clasps, but it has the sort of more casket type case, except it comes up into the SD triangle for Shane Dawson. This is probably the most oddest colour story. I haven't used this a lot. I am actually going to have to take it out. A lot of these palettes I haven't used a lot purely because once they're away, they're away, and it's annoying. I need to pull them out more, but I do love this. But the colour story's hard. When I look at it, I can't see a look. I really struggle with it. If I pair it with other things, I can make a look, but I mean, I absolutely love this purple. I adore, where is it? Just the Theory up here, because it's so sort of metallic but yet mauve. And I do really like all the other colours as well. What's the Tea I always pair, or I sometimes pair with stuff from Blue Blood as well because I like it. So I think that maybe it could have been in there. But I do really like the palette. But like I say, I think just because obviously they were trying to put in stuff that would complement him, it is quite a difficult one to make looks with. This, on the other hand, this is the Mini Controversy palette. I love this palette. There is a really nice light purple and dark purple, light blue and dark blue. And I've made a couple of looks that I absolutely love with this palette. The one that I would probably take out is My Apology. And I'd put that green one in. And I think that might be what they've did. But obviously I got this on first launch and I got this one. But this little colour story I absolutely adore. I can see loads of different looks that I would do with it. And I like that it's just nice and mini and compact like that. So yeah. I think that they're gone for good. I'm not sure. Anyway. Okay, we're going to move on to Jawbreaker now. Jawbreaker might be my least favourite palette. Purely because it's one that I would reach for if I was doing a colourful look, but it doesn't have everything in it that I would need for a colourful look, if that makes any sense. Like, we have sort of a muted purple and a muted green, and we have corals, but then we have a few different reds and pinks. I don't know, there's a couple of things missing from me, but if I was going to do like clown makeup or really, really out there makeup, I would look at this palette. But I would also go for the second Jaclyn Hill palette with Morphe. I will say I don't like the formula as much in this one. I don't know what the difference was. It doesn't seem as easy to use. I don't know why. I might have to revisit it. But I mean, don't get me wrong, the shades are beautiful. But if you just look at that two compared to these two, the mattes just aren't as good. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just the colours or if it's just the batch or whatever, but it just was never as good. These shimmers are stunning, don't get me wrong, you can see that there. That's absolutely wild. But, like I say, a lot of them are out there. And if I'm doing a really colourful look, I'm putting it all over my eye, I tend to go for mattes. So, yeah, I haven't used it as much. This is my least favourite palette. The one shade I love in it is Delicious up here. Is it Delicious? Yeah, Delicious. But the colour payoff on it is not great. It's not colour payoff, what's the word? The blendability of it is not great, as you can see. It's just a bit choppy. That's my stomach rumbling. It's just a bit choppy. It's not as smooth. It's very dry feeling. And yeah, that kind of bugged me. So I was kind of disappointed with that one. Oh, I never said. Okay, so Blue Blood I would give 8 out of 10. Conspiracy palette I would give a 6. The Mini Controversy I would give a 9 out of 10. And Jawbreaker I'd give a 4 out of 10. Yeah, I know it hurts my feelings too. I have no idea what I've done with it. I've looked everywhere. I had the Orgy palette. I had it for work. I used it on multiple clients. I think I must have left it at a client's house. Loved that palette. If you are an artist or if you are somebody who just wears all nude kind of like style eyes, that palette is a 10 out of 10. That palette is just like, it has everything you need in it. The blendability is beautiful. The colour choices are beautiful. You've got something for everybody in that palette and I love it. Love it. Going on next, we have Cremated. Cremated is all of the greys and khaki greens that you could ever want. The only thing I found with this palette, I love it, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that it's got all these silvers and you can do all sort of like cool toned looks. But like this shade here, that shade there, that shade. See, when you built these shades up, they all looked identical. They all looked exactly the same. It might have just been the way I was using them, but I don't know. Every time I used it, it just seemed to be too similar, if you know what I mean. Like everything was just too samey. Like there just isn't a lot in it. I understand that there's not supposed to be a lot in it, but if you're somebody who's wanting to buy a palette and use it yourself, you want to have a good variation of stuff that you can do with it. For graphic looks, if I did a lot more cool toned sort of grungy looks at work, I think I would use it, but I tend to not. I love Death Blow. Is it Death Blow? Yeah, and I love Diamond Dashes. These two are stunning. You can see they're the most dipped into in this palette, because there is no white eyeshadow like that. There is none. Let's see if I can actually pick it up on this. There is no white eyeshadow like that. I love that eyeshadow. So yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10, but purely because I absolutely love it, but it's just there's not enough variation in it. Another one of my least favourites, I would say, is the Thirsty palette. The Thirsty palette introduced like a new sort of texture of eyeshadows, one that I don't really like. They're just a little bit sandy for me, and getting them to stick well is a little bit of a challenge. Some of them are beautiful, don't get me wrong. Filthy Rich, you can see in the pan, I've used it a lot. But I don't know. It was the same again. Taste Buds Bitchin', Kumquat and Stroke. The only one that was quite different was this one, but these all look so similar. I like the fact that it had Parched. I love these three shades down here, the yellow, the blue and the green. So that's Splash, Submerge and Quench. I absolutely adore them, but they don't really go with that much else in the palette. So it is very much an add-on palette, but I find add-on palettes, for me, I struggle to take them out of the drawer just because I'm like, well, I would rather work out of one palette, and you should see the mess that this place gets into. Okay, we are almost there. This has to be the most, oh, did I give that one a score? I'll give that one a 3 out of 10. So this has to be the most unique packaging I think he's ever done. Look at it, it's so pretty. This is the Pricked palette. It's got that type of catch on it. It's like a little handbag. Oof. The only problem is I don't think I could ever take this anywhere. That is it there. I love this palette. I haven't been able to use it enough, but literally every shade in it I love. I love. There's no shade in here that I do not like. I love them all. They are just totally my colours, totally my vibe. The only thing I would say is I want a darker brown. Like, I want a darker orangey brown, because the darkest shade in the palette is Slice Me Open, and it's purpley, and Deadly Intentions, which is black. The darkest sort of brown is Double Crossed, which I haven't actually even dipped into yet. It's that one there. Beautiful shade, but it's not deep enough. I want a deeper brown. So I'd maybe mix it, but Deadly Intentions has got like a gold fleck in it. I have used it. It is stunning. I am running out of room here. It's beautiful. But you would have to apply it with your finger to get it to actually show the sparkle. I would give this palette probably a 8 out of 10. This is why I keep buying them. There's very few of them that are less than an 8 out of 10. Okay, Pink Religion. This is so cool. Look at it. It is like a Bible. You open it. It's manky. Don't mind mine. It feels like kind of soft. It has the pages sort of around the side, and everything in it is like embossed. It's weird. It's really cool. This, the only thing I would say is the same as the, what's it called? Cremated palette. A lot of these shades look the same once they're on, but up in the lighter ones as well, you've got different tones, I suppose. So like I say, if you were wanting a pink palette to use as an artist, fantastic palette. Look at all the pinks. I mean, you honestly couldn't go wrong. But if you want to create a look just using this palette, it ends up being very pinky or very purpley and very much the same. Like, you don't get the contrast between the shades. But is it a beautiful palette? Yes, it's a beautiful palette. If you want to go in and find a specific pink to go with a look, you go into this palette, you will find the pink. But building a look entirely from this palette, not so much. I do absolutely love, is it Princess Crown at the top? Look at that. Look at how manky my hands are. I need help. Okay, we're getting there. 6 out of 10, I think I would say. So this one is really new to me. Not as new as the next two. But I haven't actually had a chance to get really into this yet, although I've probably used it 3 or 4 times. I have used it on clients as well, just to try it. But this is the Banana Fetish palette. I will say this is my holy grail moisturiser. This is my third pot of this. I love it. So I had to get the palette while I was getting that as well. And to be honest, if you're a brown fan, you might love this palette. But the only thing I would say is My Peeps, Cream Pie, Just the Tip, and How Do You Feel are like the same shade. The ones across the top here. They are like the same shade. It's kind of annoying. There isn't enough between them, in my opinion. Vitamin P, Star Split, the two shimmers here, and this shimmer here, which is G-Spot. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Look at them. Oh! But again, there isn't much between them. That one's a wee bit more yellow gold. But there really isn't that much. And then like the last shimmer in the palette is just, you know, a wee bit more of a greeny shift. There's not an awful lot in them. So like I say, if you're somebody who has a lot of palettes and you'll want to dip in and out of different palettes, this palette might be for you. I don't understand why there's a pink in it. I would have taken that out and added something else, maybe a black or something like that, but I do like this palette. I love the browns in it, so a brown smoky eye, this is one of the palettes I'm reaching for. Okay, I'm saving my newest one till last. I have used this one once and the next one once. So this is the Star Wedding palette. I bought this to basically replace my Orgy palette. This has a really good array of colours in it. I like that it's got some purples. They're not crazy dark, but it has got some purples, so you can sort of deepen up a look. But all across the top, again, I don't know why there's a random fuchsia pink in here. One thing that annoys me, like why would these fuchsia pinks? I don't know why they're in every palette, because what would you use it with in there? I have no idea. I really don't. I mean, apart from just like sticking it in the inner corner and hoping for the best, I really don't know. All across the top here, amazing, amazing for doing like that very, very classic bridal look. You'll know what I mean if you've ever done one or if you've ever had one. All these shimmers here would work a treat, and I have actually, I think the style that I did with the look that I did with this palette was very bridal. And then obviously the browns and stuff like that are light enough that you could make it like a daytime look. If it's somebody who wears a little bit more makeup and wants a little bit more drama, you move down to the bottom of the palette. And then it's got a wee splash at the bottom of cool tone as well, which I like. So I would give this palette a 7 out of 10, purely because I haven't used it enough to give it any more, but I've used it enough to give it the 7. Last but not least, we have Blood Money. I missed out on this palette. I didn't get it. I don't know why, because green is my favourite colour and it just doesn't make any sense why I wouldn't have gotten it. But that is what it looks like there. This palette is a green lover's dream. I would say, after using it today, it's what's on my eyes today, it's missing something. I don't know what. I think it's missing a deep brown. I used Persuasion over here and I thought it would be more brown, but it's actually very green. Once it's on the eye, you can see that it's the deepest colour on my eyes. I want a deep brown to go with these greens to pull them together. Private Island, which is this one here, is beautiful. It's what's blended it out, but again, it went very green. So I mean, I understand that it's a green palette, but again, I think I'm going to need to pair this palette with other palettes as well. But I do think it's beautiful. I absolutely think it's beautiful. I will find lots to do with this palette. But again, I do think that it's going to be one that I pair with other bits and pieces. I'm going to need to sort of like take them all out and have them all in front of me and see if I can build looks using multiples of them, because I don't like them just sitting there. But I do find that it is hard to pull things out when you look at it and it's not a complete look. There are other palettes I have that I can look at and be like, yep, I can make a complete look with that. Yep, I can make a complete look with that. Some of these, but I do think that they're a collector's dream, because between all of these palettes, there are so many looks that you could do. So if you have all of these palettes, then, you know, you're laughing sort of thing. But if you're somebody who's just trying to build a makeup collection, with the way things are with money and stuff like that just now, it might be a wee bit of a more sensible move to go for palettes that you could make a complete look out of, so that you're not having to dip into multiple palettes, or you're not having to buy multiple palettes. But yeah, I would give Blood Money a 8 out of 10. So far. I love the packaging of it as well. It is just absolutely beautiful. Look at the colour and the details. And this one has like a sort of little bit at the front that you push to the side and then you lift up. So yeah, but I think that's pretty much it, obviously, for this video. I just wanted to go through everything that I have and let you know what my thoughts on it very briefly, just to let you, maybe it'll make up your mind about something that you've been looking at. Maybe it can help you if you're swithering between two different palettes. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, I would love if you would get a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! Oh, and if there's any of these palettes that you would like to see featured in a video, just let me know in the comment section below.